Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 450 chainsaw. Customer complaint is that it won't start. As always, the first thing I do is take a look into the fuel tank and see what they've been running for fuel. In this case, we're going to fish the line out of the tank, take a look at the condition of the fuel filter, and pressure test the fuel line. The reason for doing this is we want to make sure that the line doesn't have any holes in it, cracks, whatever, and make sure that the carburetor is sealed up decent. Once we're happy with the condition of the fuel line and the filter, we'll throw it back in the tank. And the next thing I always like to do is look into the cylinder and see if it's scored in there or not. Get the spark plug out of here and get our handy dandy flashlight, drop it down in the cylinder and take a look. And everything looks clean and shiny in there. So like I said, this thing won't start. Let's just lay this spark plug on the cylinder head and see if we have any spark. No spark. So a spark plug walks into the bar, bartender says, "You can stay, but don't start anything." Alright, so we got this spark checker tool, and we're just going to see, if there was any minuscule spark that I couldn't detect that maybe this device will pick up on. And I'm still showing a red light on there, so there's no spark here. We're going to look at the ignition module and just see if it's still there. Actually, you can see the module just above the top of the starter there. So we know it's still there. Everything looks normal. Now what I usually like to do is verify that the kill switch isn't the reason for the no spark condition. So we're going to pull the kill switch wire off, put our handy dandy spark tester back on. Spark Checker, I think, is the brand of this one. I'm still kind of testing it out. I don't know if I like it or not. But you'll see when we hook it to the wire that the red light comes on the tester. And if there's spark, it flips to a green light, and it did not do that. So we're going to assume there's nothing wrong with the kill switch circuit, and now we're going to look at if the module is actually grounded to the engine. So we'd want to take an ohm meter, connect it between the metal part of the ignition module and the metal part of the cylinder head, and you should have less than 0.2 of an ohm of resistance there. And I guess one other thing you could do is just break one of the screws loose and crank it back down and see if that makes a difference. You could remove the ignition module and sand the contact points between the module and the cylinder head, because if you don't have a good ground between the module and the engine, you're not going to have spark. So that's one thing you're going to want to check before you spend the money on a new module. Speaking of spark, where do spark plugs buy their clothes? At the Gap. Yeah. Alright.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
Okay, for some reason I cranked the spark plug in there. I just meant to have it in there while I was blowing this clean. Actually, every time I replace an ignition module, I replace the spark plug. Probably not necessary, but I just always do it that way. We are going to install our new module. Make sure you include the kill wire under one of those bolts. Yeah, these are small fine thread screws, so you don't want to be cranking on there. We'll take our gap gauge and we'll fit it between the magnets of the flywheel and the ignition module, and then we'll snug down those screws that hold the module in place. Why was there a spark between Frankenstein and his bride? He couldn't resist her. Okay. Where are we at? Plastic air conductor. These things are always filthy. So we'll blow the schmutz off of there. Reroute our kill wire and our plug wire through that air conductor. They always got locking tabs or little grooves or slots or something for these wires. So you want to make sure they're in there so they don't end up getting caught in the flywheel and ruining your day. We'll screw down the starter cover bolts. While he's screwing those down, how do you make a mechanical frog? You don't use bolts, you have to use rivets. Hey, look at that. We got spark. Our spark checker works. Our new ignition module works. How deep is a frog pond? Knee deep. Knee deep. Oh, I don't care if you like that one or not. I love it. All right. We fixed our spark problem, so now we're going back and kind of completing a tune-up that we're going to do in the saw. We're putting a new fuel filter in there, and I think this air filter is going to fly. We're going to let that one stay in there. And you know, here I don't know why I cranked that spark plug in there, because whenever I put a module in, I put a new spark plug in. So what we're going to do is bolt this puppy together and see if it runs. I bet you it's going to run. I probably wouldn't have made this video if it didn't run. But we'll see. So that's all I got for you on swapping an ignition module on a Husqvarna 450 chainsaw. Thanks for watching. Later.